On my last Belegarth and Friends stream, I had on guests Ormus from the game of Amtgard and Par from the game of Belegarth. We discussed the topic of knighthood, finding similarities between the two organizations. In this clip, we go over the basic process of becoming a knight in both games. If you want to watch the whole unedited podcast, you can find a link to that in the description below. Amtgard has 5 knighthoods rather than just one, because we break it up in different sections because we have an award system. We have 10 different levels to our awards, with the masterhood, the kind of like a capstone for the path that you're taking. There are 9 award tracks going from like arts and sciences and service and leadership and fighting, of course. We have a new one for actually playing the battle games that we play in Amtgard. That's a new knight that was introduced in the last couple years. Yeah, there's 5 knighthoods that you earned from the track. It's Flame, and then there's Serpent, which is for ANS and arts and sewing and guard, stuff like that. Then there's Crown, which is for leadership and office. And then there is Knight of the Sword, which is for fighting. And then there is Knight of Battle for good field commander in battle games. Then you go through the system and you get voted on if you want to become a knight. Knight is more of a personality award, more like it's not necessarily about your skill, although you have to have had the skill to get into that path. You have to have good characteristics to, be a good person, role model kind of thing, mentorship. That's the goal anyways. That's how it's explained in the rulebook. And Sorry. Then we'll get into that, I'm sure. Yeah, and then the knights in the kingdom that you're in vote to see if you pass, and then if you pass, and this is a little different for each kingdom, it's a little unique, and then the monarch of the kingdom will knight you at the ceremony if you pass. Then you're a knight of whatever knighthood you get. Bar, do you want to talk a little bit about Belegarth Knighthood?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this won't be the first time that I compliment how easy it is to understand Amtgard's tracks versus Bell, and by extension, Dagger here as well. We have a similar origin, and so when I'm talking about Belegarth Knighthood, to my understanding and from my experience, it's exactly the same in Dag. So the first kind of knights in foam date back to 82. So like Dag's original knights are older than Amtgard and far older than Belegarth because we came out of the 01 split that was over intellectual property stuff. Kind of the first knighthoods were like realm level awards. I really wish we'd been smart enough to write it into our rules at some point about what knights meant, but both in Bell and Dag, they're just social conventions. There's no rules for them. The rules that are laid out are in kind of the same way that it's individual to kingdoms. It's more individual to knights and orders, and it really is. It can be like the Wild West. You can Oramus's handshake at the character thing. Like it's so much easier for someone, the character flaw, to get knighted in Bell, I would think, because it's a one-on-one relationship between you and your mentor. So in Bell, any knight can make a knight, and that's how it started. Unlike Amtgard, our peerages have different names, and it's a lot closer to the SCA. So in the SCA, if you're a knight, if you go by Sir or Dame, that means you're a heavy fighter, and they're the only ones who get to call themselves Sir. That's what it's like in Belegarth. And so our Knights of the Flame, that's service, right?
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Our Knights of the Flames are known as Master Seneschals, and so that's my second peerage, is functionally a Flame Knighthood. Our Serpent, which is crafting for you, is Master Artificer. And then we have a knighthood that I didn't hear you mention at all, which is Master Chronicler, which is about keeping records and then doing videos and poetry and kind of more bardic pursuits, but in the interest of keeping our history. So the folks who maintain our wiki that have all of our knighthood lineages that went through all the work of putting those things together, they would be Master Chroniclers and the folks who keep our history. So, and then we have, in addition to that, for the ease of explanation, call them knighthood equivalents. One of them is specifically and only if you play a monster character. Because in Bell, monster isn't a class, it's just a thing you are. And so monster knights are war masters, and if war masters are watching the stream, like if Cord is out there watching the stream, please don't be mad at me that I'm boiling it down to that, but monster knights are war masters. There is a new kind of focus on polearm and two-handed sword called Blade Master, and I don't know any of them personally, and so I don't know if that's going to be more like a warlord style title where it's not meant to be a peerage, or if they're trying to become knights. And so there's room for all of these things to kind of grow and and evolve. The word where you guys just use knight because everybody has the same title and everybody gets the same white belt with a different color, we would use peerage like the SCA does to kind of loop everybody, including like maestros and pelicans and stuff for the SCA. So
Nice.
that's where it's at.